Hello, and welcome to yet another unbiased gear review. Today, we are reviewing a Paul Reed Smith Mark Holcomb SE signature model. So where to start with this awesome instrument? This thing has a lot going on for it that I absolutely love. One glaring thing that I do not love at all. Man, where do I begin? I think we'll begin with the obvious. This is a signature model instrument for Mark Holcomb from Periphery and Haunted Shores. It is built to his specifications, but in a little bit more affordable line than his private stock models that you sometimes see floating around out there. So because of that, you're able to get an instrument with much of the same appointments at about $900, give or take, depending on which dealer you buy it through. One of the things that is super cool is, despite the fact that this is a lower-end instrument, quote-unquote lower-end instrument, PRS was still able to put in the custom shop Seymour Duncan Alpha and Omega humbuckers in here, which I will get to. But I want to praise PRS for a moment about that because, as a lot of you guys know from watching some of my other videos, I hate it when I pick up a Korean-made or otherwise overseas-made instrument that has crap pickups in it. Anyways, moving on, I'll get to that later. The fretwork is very, very nicely done. On a cheaper instrument like this, binding on the edge of the fretboard is a nice touch, but it also serves a functional purpose because it kind of covers any sort of rough fret edges that you might find on an instrument of this price point. So not only is it a nice aesthetic touch, but it serves a function. I love it. The fixed bridge is kind of a plate style bridge according to PRS's website. I really like this bridge. It's very, very comfortable. It sits kind of low. It feels like, honestly, like those hip shot replacement bridges that they're making now for a lot of the Ibanez models that have a fixed bridge down here. It feels similar. There's nothing really getting in the way. It's very comfortable when you're doing palm mutes. It's just a really good, simple design. It's affixed to the body with what looks to be 5 screws, string through body, so you get that extra bit of resonance to it. However, one thing on here that drives me up the fucking bend, and it's honestly the only thing I would call out as a serious detriment on this instrument. This nut is fucking garbage. Oh my god, I don't know what the material is. It feels and it looks like the cheapest goddamn plastic known to man. And let me tell you, as fun as this thing is to play around on and as inspiring as it is to play this thing, wow, that's a real downer that I'm always having to retune the goddamn thing. And honestly, it's just down to the fact that the strings keep catching on the nut. Like, as you're trying to tune the instrument, you'll notice that that bubble or that needle, whatever tuner you're using, is just wavering so much. You'll drop it down to try to get a little bit more stability as you tune up the instrument. But then it's like as soon as it gets as close to the pitch as possible, oh shit, now we're sharp. We're way the hell sharp all of a sudden. I don't know what the hell's going on with this thing, but that nut is garbage, and dear God, whoever out there buys a PRS Holcomb SE, please replace the nut first thing. Throw a Graphtec on there and call it good. So honestly, quality control wise, this is a fantastic instrument. It's put together really well. I mentioned the fret ends earlier, but really you can go over this thing with a fine-tooth comb and you're not finding any sort of finish issues to it. The one thing that I will call out as far as that goes is that there's just a little bit of bleed over with the gloss and the satin where the headstock meets the rest of the neck. Whatever. That's really it as far as finish goes. This is a beautiful finish. I've heard it referred to many times as brisket burst, and I will agree. I love this brisket burst. Looks beautiful. The wide, thin neck is very, very comfortable to play on. It still has a nice rounded C shape to it, but it's a little thinner than something like your typical Gibson Fair or something along those lines. It's just comfy. It fits really nicely in the palm of your hand. But, you know, the body is nice and comfortable. It's got a flatter top than you're typically used to from a PRS. So if you're more of like a super strat player, it's going to be a little bit more comfy for you. But, man, it just plays so well. It's very, very inspiring to play on this. I've only had it maybe like a day and a half, and I already came up with that song that you heard at the beginning of this video. Normally it takes me a few more days than that to come up with some I deem adequate for a video. That just flowed right out of me. It was great. But no, I mean, I absolutely love this thing. It's just a joy. You know, the quality control, the playability, the appointments on it, I love it. Moving on to how this instrument sounds. Man, this is one of the great things about this instrument, is that here you have an instrument that is about $900 street, but they still managed to put about a $300 set of pickups in this. Last I checked, the Alpha and Omega are still being made by the Seymour Duncan Custom Shop. I might be wrong on that, so don't quote me. But that is a really, really nice touch to make sure that this guitar still gives you the full-on sound that you would get from the nicer, higher-end Mark Holcomb signature model. These pickups, they've got some great qualities to them. The bridge pickup we'll start off with. It's very, very focused. Like, if it handles a wide variety of rock and metal styles, not just gent. It's not a one-trick pony. But at the same time, if you're the kind of dude like me who likes like really super powerful chugs out of this, you might want to turn up some of the low-end frequencies on your amp to compensate just a little bit. It's not bad. It's just really, really tight in there. So, like, if you're going to do something that's more like traditional metal, it tends to be a little bit better for stuff that has a lot of faster runs. Because even at those higher velocities, it tends to retain its note definition and clarity very, very nicely. Also, in split mode, it sounds really, really nice as well. It's also the quickest way to get a genty tone out of it. as far as the neck pickup goes, I really, really like it. It's a little bit more modern than the typical fare that I go for. It's got a slight airiness to it and a little bit more top end than you're typically used to from a neck pickup. The fact that this is a 24 fret instrument probably is also making it sound a little bit modern as well. It also has a high enough output that it can compete with the Omega Bridge pickup as well. Not bad at all. A little shimmery, not so much of that low mid-range that I really, really like from some of the more vintage sounding neck pickups, but I can totally picture this being used in a clean setting and really excelling. I would love to show you a clean setting, but I don't give a fuck about cleans. So to recap, this instrument is totally fucking badass. It's got the one little negative up here that I would love to see changed, but hell, that's an easy replacement part. Go out there and get a Gravtech. Besides that, I mean, everything about this is a fantastic instrument. For those of you that are used to PRS SE quality from like maybe 10 years ago, back when the Santana model came out and the original single cuts and that sort of thing, put your fears aside. Lately, the SE models have been absolutely fantastic. I played a lot of them. I played like a Clint Lowry model. I played some of the new single cut models. And now I've played this. And wow, the SE line, you know, they're made by World Music in South Korea. And there's just such an attention to detail about them now. They can really compete with a lot of other instruments in this price point. I would definitely recommend checking out this instrument. Fuck checking it out. I would recommend buying this instrument. So Arnold, what are you drinking today? Well, I'm glad you asked. Those of you that remember the flight video that I did with my buddy Eric know that the last beer that we had was by Santiam Brewing Company in Salem, Oregon. And it was not very good at all. But I had 2 other beers sitting in the fridge, so figured, you know what, give them a chance to redeem themselves. Here we have their Impersky, which is a barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stout. It has an IBU of 68 and an ABV of 9%. It pours pitch black with a tan head. The nose has some vanilla and syrup to it. You can also definitely still taste, or rather smell, a little bit of the oakiness in there from the barrel aging. However, there's this weird tanginess in the brew when you actually taste it. The oak aging isn't nearly as present, neither is the vanilla. I don't know, it just tastes really funky. It tastes really weird. I think probably it has something to do with the alcohol content in this, the fact that there's 68 IBU and it's coming mostly from that alcohol content. It's overpowering all the other notes to this. I don't know. So far, 0 for 2 from Santiam. So that's it for me. Leave a comment in the comments section below. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and please let me know if there's anything more that you want to see. I'll try my best to take heed of your suggestions. This was something that a few readers have suggested, and I'm happy to make your dreams come true, I guess. But yeah, leave a little comment below, and maybe I'll answer it.